Croddick kind of takes a step forward and he puts a hand on your shoulder, Morwen, and he says, "In spirit, Gunter will always be with us."
Yeah.
At the same time, I turn around and go, Croddick, you're right. And I get out the candle.
Okay. Phenomenal.
You said that was your fault.
No, well, maybe, but I don't know. We'll just find out.
No, but maybe, but I don't know. We'll just find out. Is definitely the way to go about handling dangerous things.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna set it up next to Gunter, and I'm gonna light it and look for him.
Okay.
I think.
What the hell's happening?
For all of you, you watch as suddenly, Heinrich seems to get this idea. And he reaches into his bag and shuffles through the various items, and pulls out this black candle. It's black candle with a single faceted side in the front. And for those of you who are looking, you can see, not Gunter, you can see that there is a slight glow coming from these arcane runes that have been scratched into the surface, that single facet. There's an inscription in a parchment tag that's attached by a string that goes up into the candle and becomes the look at the other end. Heinrich, you can see the writing that is there. Are you lighting the candle?
I mean, it's potentially dangerous, but if he's over here, then at least I can find him. Because he's not in his body right now. It's a thought. I don't know. Try it out, yeah.
Okay, so you watch as Heinrich pulls out his flint and steel and sets a spark to this candle. And as Heinrich holds the candle, it takes a second. There's this kind of and then finally this and a little whiff of smoke. And in that moment, the smoke seems to expand, and you hear this violent tearing sound, wet, as reality pulls away from you, Heinrich. In front of all of you, you see Heinrich become ethereal. His form not entirely there. You can see through him. Around him, there is this rippling circle, an aura almost, where the world itself has become insubstantial, and the lines between the ethereal plane and the material plane blur. Heinrich, go ahead and roll a D100 for me.
Yeah, this is the part I'm scared about. It's a small chance, but there is a chance. We got 69.
Hey.
69, look at that. So,
that's the best
Heinrich,
result.
From your perspective, from your perspective, there is this howling wind that ripples by you as this candle constantly, its burning effect, continues to tear and leave this pocket. You, being in the ethereal plane partially, are able to kind of see through things that are within that 5-foot sphere. You, looking down at Gunter, actually see the ghostly bones beneath the skin. Not entirely transparent, but almost as if the skin and the clothes become like a sort of gelatin that encases it. You can see that. You can also see, being close enough to the door, first of all, interesting point, the lock you cannot see through. This magical item seems to almost reject what this candle does. But you can see through the door. On the other side of the door, and as you kind of look at it, you hold your hand out and you realize your hand holding the candle actually touches the door for a brief moment and passes through. And you recognize that you can walk through things at the moment. On the other side of this door, you see the floor is again petrified wood, long planks, and kind of looking and squinting, you can see the faintest shimmering of water. And again, all around you, it's like this constant wind rippling as this vacuum, this hole, fights to close. I mean, this candle is literally ripping apart the nature of the world, and it's leaving this wound. The longer you use it, the more damage you would imagine it's doing. But
right.
So at this moment, you guys are watching this ghostly Heinrich and this sort of darkened sphere around him where you can just kind of see things as they would be in the ethereal plane. But to
Can I
you,
look-
Heinrich, it's very much you can see everything.
Yeah. Can I make a pass around the room and look for any spectral form of Gunther?
Sure.
Like while
You
I'm
take
staring at
this-
the candle, basically, just like pacing around.
So you take the candle and you hold it out, and as you walk, this wind ruffling by. For all of you guys, you can see Heinrich's hair, as if he's standing in a wind tunnel moving, but you hear no sound. And Heinrich, as he moves, you see his legs are passing through the rubble. None of it is presenting any kind of difficult terrain. You see he walks through some of the mesh racks, and as he does, the mesh seems to almost melt away, and you can see through that as well. But Heinrich, as you make this pace, you don't see any kind of spectral, spiritual entity. But as you resume your kind of full circle and get back to the lock, you realize there is a thin line that goes from the lock and up into the door. And through the door, you can see it leads up and up, and then to where your candle's aura ceases and it just becomes stone. You would imagine that Gunter's spirit, wherever it is, or in whatever form it is somewhere above
Can I just like put the candle out?
you. And suddenly Heinrich stands there, his hair settles onto his shoulders.
So,
And Heinrich, you can mark off 1 minute from that candle.
1 minute. Cool. Alright. You sent it to me. Now I'll look it up.
so I'm just gonna ask,
Everybody right now is just staring at you also, Heinrich. I mean, Helia, mouth slightly
Staring up at
open.
the ceiling.
just wondering what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
What was that?